Bruce Cassidy is the right man for the job on a team that was lacking grit, accountability, discipline, and structure. We'll talk about that on today's edition of Locked On Golden Knights.
Your Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hi, everyone. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's Locked On Golden Knights. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. Find our podcast wherever you get your podcast. Find us on Twitter at LockedOnVGK, at Tony Dasco, and at TD Chris G. And we are brought to you by FanDuel. Baseball season is in full swing, and right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet of up to $1,000. So, Chris, I listened to the Spitten Chiclets interview with Jonathan Marchessault, and it confirms something I think that we, on the serious side, and then we'll get into all the shenanigans that he
serious
spoke
face.
about.
Okay, serious face.
Okay, so no, it's something that we suspected about Bruce Cassidy. He holds everyone accountable, and Jonathan Marchessault added that he's a little bit of a mother blanker than others that we had here on the bench, behind the bench. And this is absolutely what was missing, I believe, for VGK. The organization was very loose. And again, Bruce brings structure. Marchessault said if the first shift turned the puck over, Cassidy would be mother blanking the players. He's intense. Marchessault said that the other players hadn't even touched the ice yet. And here's Cassidy reaming out. I guess it had to be the fourth line for turning it over. But, you know, he talked about the game that they played up and down the ice. And I guess Cassidy told the team he was a little bit more toned down during the playoffs, more about making adjustments, told the team to get to our game. We're better than that team that we're playing. And, you know, I just thought that this was a pretty telling sign about perhaps the respect that they have for Cassidy and the way that Cassidy commands this team to have some discipline, especially on the ice. We'll talk about off the ice stuff in a moment, but on the ice, they're his team.
Yeah, so it's going back to all the pressers and stuff. You got a little bit of a taste of where Marchessault is coming from. And I go back to a game. One of the times VGK was slumping pretty bad in the first third of the season, like that last third of the last third of the first third, however that reduces in a math term. But early on in the season, that's probably the easier way to say that. There's a game where Bruce makes a comment about, just little things. When we get in the zone, we have sticks in the wrong spots. And then we all go, and I think it was Ben Goetz. I think he had his computer open. We actually went and found the play he was talking about. And oddly enough, it was Marchessault. So he has his stick basically covering a point pass instead of having his puck, having his stick blade in the middle, and a pass comes right down Broadway, and someone rushes right in and gets a goal. You look at the way Bruce Cassidy conducts himself in the press conferences. He doesn't give you fluff answers. He doesn't give you the happy-go-lucky Pete DeBoer face. He doesn't give you the Gerard Gallant old school coach. I'm not going to give you a whole lot of stuff. He gives you probably more than he should, more than he definitely should. And he gives you wonderful, thoughtful, and these answers with all this insight that really give you a taste of what's happening. Now, it was really kind of hard to see the aggressive version of Bruce Cassidy because you really didn't get that a whole lot, right? The reaction shots after something happens, they go to the goaltender, they go to one of the players on the ice, and they go to the coach, and Cassidy just kind of stone-faced looks down at the monitor and kind of goes about his business. A couple times I did see him working the bench a little bit when things weren't going well. I would zoom in from the press box and just focus on Cassidy for 30, 45, 60 seconds. And you kind of see him getting going a little bit. And it was interesting to hear Marchessault's takes. And and the comparison, if you will, from Gallant and DeBoer.
Yeah, no doubt. And, especially when he spoke about Ivan Barbashev, and Marchessault said something to me that really stood out. He said VGK didn't have grit in the other years. And that's exactly what I was saying, what we've been talking about,
the lack of for most of the season either.
The lack of physicality. Well, without Barbashev, this is why he's so valuable to this team. Yeah. And he said that that's what he brought. And he said he probably outpriced himself for Las Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, Marchessault, you made the comment. He's probably going to go and get paid somewhere else. He's won. He's worked hard. Now he gets paid. That's how it works in the NHL. He talked about the reverse hit, obviously, on Gudas, and Marchessault made the comment that Gudas is normally the one putting you into the third row. I mean, obviously, Marchessault is still friends with a lot of these guys. Keep in mind, he was there for a good period of time. Really, his career started to blossom in Florida. If you really want to, go into it, and Barbashev is held on a real high regard, and at some points, in the next 10, 11 days, the conversation is going to be Barbashev or Hill. Mm-hmm. Is there a path for Barbashev and Hill, or is it no Barbashev and no Hill? And sneak peek, I think neither one are going to be Vegas Golden Knights next year. I think they've outpriced themselves. Hill has the better chance to offer a hometown discount than Barbashev. I think Barbashev's dad or agent even made a comment. He doesn't know if EGK is willing to pay market for Barbashev. And, what is market for a player who has once in his career scored 60 points, but did really well in a playoff run with the Vegas Golden Knights, and now has two Stanley Cups.
In two playoff runs. He's more than proven his worth. It's about time you pay the guy. He's about a $5 million a year player. He's on a top line. He showed his versatility. He's a banger. He brings a physicality like we haven't seen here ever in Las Vegas. I mean, he just finishes checks. He just plays a very, if you will, a gritty game.
Is this a career year for him right now?
No, I don't think he's on the downswing. No,
do you think this is a career year that he just had right now?
No, no.
You think he's consistent and he's going to? Okay, yeah. If that's the case, so be it. See, he
was my MVP. He was my MVP.
No, it was a great pick based on his points. My concern with him is, and he has more intangibles than just points. Someone on YouTube or Facebook pointed this out to me. It was a good conversation, but you got to be careful with the William Karlsson situation. He's had a really good year. He's done it a couple of times now. Yes, he being Barbashev deserves more credit than Karlsson, I think, is probably the easiest way to say this. But you can't overpay for someone like this and have it possibly backfire, because you look at his numbers in St. Louis, he had 60 points once. And then a tremendous decline after that. Yeah, but again, 2 playoff runs, 2 Stanley Cups. That's something that
he's a money
Karlsson
player.
He is, and that's fair also. Very fair.
Shift to Marchessault and him talking about sitting next to Eichel, playing poker, and all they do for 6 hours is stare at Phil Kessel's forehead, which I think is just funny. And then Kessel becomes unnerved. And then he puts on the headphones and listens to music.
Listens to headphones in a home fun game like that. Like,
did you also hear Marchessault said that his equipment, Kessel's equipment, is like very old. Like all of his stuff is as long as he's been in the league. But the funniest story about Kessel is about an accidental headbutt between Marchessault and Kessel in Ottawa. This was on Spitten Chiclets. If you have an opportunity, please check it out.
It's worth it.
It really is.
It's a good one.
Okay, so they're playing Ottawa, and Kessel's streak is at 996 for the Ironman. And he goes down and could have hurt himself. He slipped and fell. Could have been a groin pull or something. And Marchessault says he's leaking, and he needed some stitches to cover up a gash. And so, okay, now we're talking about, on one hand, discipline and structure and accountability. So obviously this has to get back to Cassidy. What do you think his reaction was?
So setting the table here, just so we have the full context, Kessel and Marchessault before a game, like in uniform, right before they're about to take the ice, are horse playing. And it gets to the point where Marchessault throws a fake punch. Kessel, to quote Marchessault, they got pretty close to my head, eh? And then they start talking a little bit more, and boys are boys, and they get down low like they're going to start punching each other. And idiot one and idiot two decide they're going to fake headbutt each other at the same time. You can say that because when they both go down and Marchessault winds up leaking and Phil Kessel is on the ground because he might have a groin tear, that's idiot one, idiot two at that moment there. And I'm sure there's many moments like that. I'm not knocking the team. I'm simply saying the boys had a not too smart of a moment there. Marchessault was even late to warm-ups and everything. And I was thinking before you said it, if this did make it back to Cassidy, like what's Cassidy, well, to be fair, a lot of times the coach doesn't even go out for warm-ups. I noticed Jay Woodcroft goes out there for Edmonton because he needs all the help he can get. But a lot of the head coaches do not go out there. They let the assistants chart the lines and everything, and that's it. So there's a chance Cassidy never knew about this or never saw it. And everyone was like, probably better if we don't say anything. And maybe Marchessault on the bench kind of sitting like this the whole time when Kessel's going or when coach is going by, make sure he doesn't see his eyes. And how'd you get those stitches? Oh, first shift, they got me. I'm good though. You make it up or something.
Yeah, some of the funnier things too.
So
and
funny.
Kessel and Marchessault became really good friends.
Yeah.
And I like the speech. So they had Kessel address the team for game 5 right before the game. He says, if we have to go back to effing Florida, like I'm going to be really pissed off, eh? I don't want to travel.
I hope that one
back.
needs to make it back onto NHL Network or whatever their version of NFL Films is.
That's tremendous. And then Jack Eichel is a party animal, we found out from Marchessault. He said, what now? He partied his entire life to be ready for the Cup?
Yeah, so I literally just tweeted you because I was listening to this right before, and basically Marchessault was talking about Eichel. Eichel's had a few drunken nights with this team before this moment. Let's be clear about this. And Marchessault, quoting Eichel said, I've partied all my life so I can be ready to party when I get the cup. So Eichel's got a side to him. And, folks, don't let this surprise you. These are still human beings we're talking about. No different than me and you and Tony.
It's like a fraternity, for crying out loud.
And fine. But point being is you got to blow some steam off. You got to have some fun, whatever that is, whether it's drinking with the boys or poker night, day at the casino, whatever it is, they're no different than us, and they need these moments to decompress and do their things. So when you hear about this, I thought about this during the rally. Okay. And by the way the rally was, this wasn't the first time around the block for any of these guys drinking. They are professionals at this. This team might have gone 98-0 if they could have stayed sober all season.
Yeah, because they said that they drank on the road and that they had a lot of beers, right? So they were partying on the road some. Of course, you get away from home, but also by the same token, they showed up at practice when they didn't have stitches every day, and they were able to come together and play well on the ice and stay disciplined for the most part. They had separate lives off the ice and on the ice, but there was definitely a bond between these teammates.
It's a family. It's a family.
And so the main question that I have to ask now is, you start to sense that Cassidy, because he's an MFer, okay, you have to start. I mean, basically,
you watch too much of the Chiclets. Now we're swearing like those clowns.
I didn't swear. But what I'm saying is, Cassidy, his voice could definitely get under players' skin, under their skins, and no doubt after a while of him being pissed off at like a first early turnover and constantly getting on the guys, I could see, because he's a stickler for details, I could see that he gets under their skin. And so that his lifespan with VGK maybe now down to 3 to 4 years, I'm going to say.
I'll take the under, nothing against Cassidy. Just my kid, Chris, he made a comment even to me right around the Stanley Cup, like after it was won that night. So is Cassidy going to be here for a long time? And right away I said, no. Yeah. And Chris looked at me. I'm like, no, he's not going to be here for a long time, because this is just how it works in the NHL. And these guys come in, they do it their way because they know Bruce Cassidy, a Stanley Cup champion now, knows that it could change in 2-3 years, maybe even less if things don't go well. And I know a lot of people are shaking their head right now, or they're getting ready to add us on Twitter. People like Gerard Gallant a lot. They like Gerard. It got swept under the rug how poorly he managed that San Jose series, but they love Gerard Gallant. Oh my God, Gerard Gallant's gone. Oh geez. And Pete DeBoer, well, we're fine with that one. No disrespect to Pete. I mean, him and Paul Maurice, they're the same boring coach who are never going to win a Stanley Cup, in my opinion. And then you look at, okay, in case I need to remind you again about the business of the Vegas Golden Knights, future considerations. Okay. Marc-Andre Fleury. Hey, you guys don't care about that anymore. Marc-Andre Fleury, a bloody sword in his back. Like, this is the business of not just the Vegas Golden Knights, but the National Hockey League. And don't be surprised. As crazy as this sounds, don't be surprised. This time, 2025, 2026, Bruce Cassidy's not our coach. You can call me crazy now. If you're still around to support the show in 2 or 3 years from now, I'll tell you I was right.
Coming up next, will it be Hill yes or Hill no? We'll talk about that when we return right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Baseball season's in full swing, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers get a no-sweat first bet of up to $1,000. That's up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not win. Just go to FanDuel.com/lockedon to join today. So don't miss your chance to snag a no-sweat first bet of up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Just go to FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up. FanDuel, the official partner of Major League Baseball. Welcome back on Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Don't miss What the Friday, WTF, each and every Friday, where we get all of your fine comments and we bring them to life right here. And of course, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, Locked On Golden Knights, and find us on Twitter. Wherever you're at, we do have a poll up there right now. It is, will VGK win the Stanley Cup in 2024? So please vote there at Locked On VGK. So again, at the parade, Chris, something that stood out, of course, about Adin Hill was he didn't quite know what to do with his hands. Well, I think he's going to have one hand out at least for a lot more money, or
definitely
the other hand,
and a finger for a ring.
But the other hand might also be out with his blocker to hit someone over the head. So Adin Hill's agent this past weekend, Jerry Johnson, told the Athletics' Pierre LeBrun that they will give it the good old college try in Las Vegas because Hill really likes it here. And he just finished a 2-year, $4.3 million contract. And VGK currently with, as you said, I think $8.5 million, was it, in cap space?
Assuming Robin Lehner is not having his salary on the books in any fashion. If there's a buyout involving Lehner, that takes off $750,000 of our available cap space this year. If Lehner is a VGK, at least to the point where his salary counts against, that puts us in the 3.5. Actually, I got cap friendly right here. That puts us in the 3.4 range if Robin Lehner's salary is hitting the books at any time. And there's going to be a hint of what's happening with Robin Lehner pretty soon because, Vegas is going to have to start running the roster out. But Tony, I just stole what you said a second ago. You said Hill yes or Hill no. I just put a poll up. Will Adin Hill be a VGK next year? Hill yes, or Hill no?
That's awesome. And so, again, what do you think that Hill, if it's yes, what do you think he'll be looking for? Will it be in the $4 to $5 million range and
100%.
term, like 3 to 4 years, or 5x5? And to me, though, I'm going to turn the table on you again, because you said, was this a career year for Ivan Barbashev? Was this a career year for Adin Hill?
Yeah, so I'm pulling up his hockey DB right now, and it's
you
time
remember
for
the one game he played in the AHL too with Henderson. He played one game down
but
there.
that was a get right game.
I know
he played 2 periods just to make sure he could still get on
that
the
game,
ice.
right?
I was not. I was watching from afar that game. So okay, let's do a reality check on Adin Hill right now. First of all, amazing goalie. I think he was the Vezina, or not the Vezina, but the Conn Smythe runner-up or third place, whatever. All the credit in the world for everything Adin Hill did. Now let's acknowledge reality for a second, folks, okay? So stay with me on planet Earth for a minute here. Adin Hill has never started more than now, before he was a Golden Knight, 25 games in the regular season. Many of those seasons had injuries leading up to that, including his first season with the Vegas Golden Knights, where he played 27 games and had at least 2 trips to the injury list, if I'm not mistaken. 27 games started. Now in the playoffs, he was 13 games started or something like that, or he got whatever the number was in the playoffs. He had a lot of starts in the playoffs. I think it was 13, 14 starts. So how can you consider paying Adin Hill starter money in the 4 to 5 million range? And we got this Logan Thompson guy who, yes, injuries, multiple injuries. We have to acknowledge this. Minus his, if we're gonna throw out his injuries, we got throw out Adin Hill's injuries here. Logan Thompson at least played almost 50 games. Was a 41, 42, 38, dressed for 44, whatever the number was. Adin Hill had a lot less games played than Logan Thompson.
So interesting.
And Logan Thompson looked the part much better than Adin Hill for most of the season. Now, there were times they were, 50-50 in the net and everything. But the reality is Logan Thompson is at least an equal to goalie, possibly better. Any of the Vegas goalies, I think, could have won the Stanley Cup behind this defense as well. So Adin Hill, great season. He is not worthy of the Vegas Golden Knights handing him $4 to $5 million when you have Logan Thompson. You can get Brossoit for a heck of a lot cheaper, or just maybe we can trust McCrimmon to go and find a goalie who we're not even thinking about right now. I didn't know Adin Hill existed until the Golden Knights signed him last season, for crying out loud.
Very true. And so there could be, in my estimation, some friction between if you give that kind of bag to Adin Hill, right? If you give him 4 to 5 million, what if you're Logan Thompson, who was the number one starter? He's in year 2, Chris, of a $775,000 a year contract. And I don't care what anyone says, there's got to be a little bit of jealousy, if you will, because Thompson thought that he was number one, and here comes Hill. And of course, by a stroke of luck, he winds up being the goalie of all goaltenders. And even Marchessault was commenting about how well he did. He said that he was lights out, even on nights when VGK did not perform well in front of him in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Pardon me. Yeah, no, it's everything.
You were out with the family. I could tell you're a little bit tired.
We did paint the ice. I'm sure we're going to mention that in a little bit.
That's
and then
in the next segment.
And then we had my kid had a hockey game tonight, so it's been a long day. It's been a long day. It's a great day. It's a great day. I couldn't ask for it any other way. Believe me, it's been hockey since I woke up this morning, just like every day of my life is. Back to the Adin Hill Logan Thompson situation. Yeah, I mean, is there going to be drama? Listen, Logan's on a contract. I don't think he's going to hold out or do anything psycho like that. At least I hope nothing like that would happen. And Logan, he's on house money too. I mean, not to take anything away from Logan, but I think he was undrafted. Another, Brandon Wheat King type situation where, just keeps on working his way up. There's ties going back to McCrimmon, obviously, just based off of that. And he's going to get paid in a little bit. Now, will we be having the same conversation in 2 to 3 years about Logan Thompson? How much money should he get because Yuri Patera all of a sudden is blowing up? Like, this is here we go. It's the off season and we got some goaltending drama. Like, this is probably the first thing, the first hint of drama outside of the cap circumvention stuff, which looks like that bug got squashed yesterday, thankfully.
Right. But could there be a goaltender controversy?
It wouldn't be a summer in Vegas if there wasn't, the goalies making the headlines. I mean,
this is true.
Robin Lehner, his situation for the last 2 years now has been headline one. Marc-Andre Fleury with a sword in his back and all that nonsense. And, that's a carousel. It's going to keep on turning. And it's going to keep me and you being able to give news to our wonderful fans.
Chris and his family, they went to paint the ice at T-Mobile Arena on Tuesday night. He'll tell us all about it when we return right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Welcome back on Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. We definitely appreciate everyone that tunes in and that watches our mugs on the YouTube channel. Please subscribe there and leave a lot of those really nice comments for me. I'm the other guy.
They're getting better. The comments are getting better, Tony.
I don't like that. I'll stir it up. Well, maybe if they watch or listen to tonight's show, which we're recording, of course, on Tuesday night, maybe I'll get them a little bit fired up about a goalie controversy or something. And so you went to the party on the ice at T-Mobile Arena where you got to paint the ice. the one photo that great image, by the way, the one photo that you took that really stood out that you posted on social media was just the one banner remaining
Ooh,
at
yeah.
T-Mobile Arena. That
Yeah,
was
I
cool.
mean, yeah, no, I was just a dumb moment. Hey, photograph. Boom, I'm a tourist in T-Mobile Arena, and 21,000 views later on Twitter. It's just crazy. Like, you say anything VGK with the VGK hashtag right now, it's just popping right now, and that's a
I need some
credit
clout.
to.
I'm going to do that then.
I'm
I
sure they'll give
definitely
you
need,
plenty of
yeah,
clout, but
yeah.
it's you walk in, like, we go down the escalator going in the front. I'm like, hey, that's where William Carlson was gyrating his hips the other day. And never mind, I didn't. I did say that. And just thinking about everything that happened out
Were they
there in front.
playing Dancing Queen on the
No,
ice for you
like,
guys? No DJ? Joe Green had the night off?
no, they didn't. And in the past, like, they've had, I don't know, there was some of the cast there and stuff. Like, there was no chance, no Golden Knight, no players. I'm really upset that the Stanley Cup didn't make an appearance at this. I thought that would have been a really nice touch. It's a wonderful event, though. I mean, I don't want to knock it. Like, I don't want to. I do want to knock it, but I don't want to knock it. On the positive side, this is just such a great way to put a bow on the season. You get to go on the same ice where now the team just celebrated a Stanley Cup, and you get to look up at your season ticket seats, or look way up in my case. You get to walk around the ice. Hey, this happened right here. This happened right there. And it just triggers all these memories one last time. And it started with me when I did go in the arena, and we sat down, and refreshments were free, popcorn, pop, and everything. And the person behind the snack shop was funny. He's like, they're like, hey, isn't it nice? This is free. This is awesome. I said, I paid for this a million times over already.
A million
Trust
times
me,
over.
I paid for this. But moving off of that, you walk in there and you see the Stanley Cup graphic on the Nitron and on all the facades and everything. And then you look up, you see just the one banner remaining, and it's like, yeah, this happened. Like, it still feels like, as a fan, I'm still a fan of this team. I'm definitely crossing over a little more to the media side, but I'm still a fan of this team. My kids love the team. Amanda loves being around the team and everything. It was nice. I saw multiple people that do follow the show, so thank you for taking a moment. So this is great. John Strickland, our resident doctor we go to for information. I'm walking. I wanted to take a moment with the family and look at other people's stuff that they drew and everything. And I was wearing my Send Him Home jersey. Mark Stone's number, and then Send Him Home on the back, nod to when Mark Stone was blasting the Buffalo Sabres when Jack Eichel just went ham on him in that one game. And I see a Stanley Cup image, a lot of nice, family names, and then on the top it says Send Him Home. I'm like, picture time. And then it was Dr. John
Nice.
Strickland, I believe,
John
right
Strickland.
there. And, like, what a cool moment to see him. He follows the show so much. He's so kind every time he sees. He's probably too kind. Like, dude's got to loosen up. It's okay. No, but it's just so kind when he sees us. And right away, he knew all my family's name and everything. He knew Chris, knew Amanda and Allie from just watching the show and everything. And that's cool. Like, these are the connections that I love to make as a fan. I still will call myself a fan. I don't know if Vegas Hockey Now is going to like me saying that, but that's a bridge that I can't ever completely abandon. And it's moments like this that certainly cement that. So, it was awesome. Had a good time. And, I kind of joked, but win, lose, or draw, pun intended, win, lose, or draw. It's really a perfect way to just put a bow on the season and kind of move on.
Okay, so what did you paint on the ice?
My kid did Allie did a Stanley Cup. Amanda put our names on the ice. And it's funny, they tell you to only use, like, the space of a rally towel, and we covered probably 6 beach towels worth of space because we got there first. So whatever, I don't care. I'm not going to apologize for that.
Okay.
And then I joked, so the thing was, winning hurts. It hurts to win. So I drew on the ice. Let's see if I can find it. I can scroll and see if I can get it to pop up here or not. So I didn't get the quote right, but I don't care. So I did, let's see.
Okay, you can't really read it, but yeah.
You can, but it rotated. Stupid camera.
Okay,
Here
so
you go,
what
one
did it
time.
say?
So there it is right there. Winning hurts. Losing hurts
more. That's your quote.
I like that.
You didn't put Locked On Golden Knights on the ice?
I didn't want them to come by and scrape it. They don't want bad words on the ice.
Wow. So you also did tweet out on Tuesday. We have so this is how we get our preseason schedules, right? By other teams tweeting.
Oh yeah, where this little nugget come from? Thank you, Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona tweeted out their preseason schedule because there's nothing else for them to do there Oh, no. Now I'm going to hear from the Arizona fan.
Oh, they're going to have to wait for another apology from William Karlsson. It's coming. It's coming.
September 29th here, preseason VGK in Arizona. So that'll be interesting.
No, but the game itself is in Texas.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
I
so
didn't see
it's
the
when you look
asterisk, dude. Come on.
So here's the funny thing, not to knock our friends in Arizona, but let me see if I can find.
Oh, that's right, because they don't have an arena to play in.
Right. So, but normally you mentioned an asterisk, okay? In this case, they used a hashtag. They used an asterisk. They used a percentage symbol. They had like a friggin' key of things to look at to see where the games were. Oh my God, what a dumpster fire. And, the sad thing is they're probably about to get $5 million of William Karlsson's salary on their books because that's how every trade ever happens. We traded Shea Weber to the Arizona Coyotes this season. I don't understand how this happens. And I don't know, that team's got to just get a full reset, ownership, geographical, and just get them out of there and start over. Bring them to Vegas. Let's get 2 teams in Vegas. I don't care. Do something.
One thing that I don't know if I mentioned on the show or not, but I definitely did tweet it out, was I got some information that the rookie face-off is going to be here in September, the 14th through 17th.
That's fun.
And so, yeah, but about a month ago, I tweeted it out, and you just sort of reminded me it's the Kings, the Ducks, the Sharks. Is it Edmonton? I don't know.
No,
Coyotes
it's probably going to be 4 teams from the division.
Avalanche. The Avalanche will be there.
It could be the
Coyotes,
yeah.
And VGK. Those are the teams.
Yeah, it's fun. The games, they do play games. They do play full games and stuff like that. These are players looking to make their mark and stuff, and it's a lot of fun. I remember watching those games when the VGK was just starting in season 1. I think they did it in Anaheim or LA.
2? Where do they do it here? They had it here once, didn't they?
I think so. I don't remember 100%. I feel like they might have. I know we have rookie camp right around the corner. That should be like the first week of July. So that's a
lot of stuff.
That's a good time, and I'm excited to get my feet wet and hang out a little more at City National in more of an official capacity. Checking all the stuff out. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, and that is because I was told that they are making some renovations to, is it still crypto.com arena, wherever the Kings were supposed to host.
Can't afford to call it that for much longer.
Right.
I got stocks to prove that.
Yeah. And so they're supposed to do it there, and they wound up having to move it somewhere else, and it's coming to Vegas. So that's something to keep an eye on. And I just wanted to make sure I got that out.
Would that be that would be at City, right? That wouldn't be at one of the arenas. I don't think.
Would they play?
They normally do it at a practice arena. Normally it's at a practice arena.
Okay, so then they'll use, I think they used both sheets of ice there at City National.
Yes.
Perhaps.
That's normal. They do that for, they definitely do it for rookie camp. I would assume they would do that for.
If it was going to be played though at crypto.com, why wouldn't some of the games be over at T-Mobile? Who knows? We'll keep an eye on it, and we'll definitely pass along the information, but we try to keep you abreast of everything that's going on in the world of VGK. We thank everyone for tuning in, especially our everydayers, the folks that make this show tick and happen. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Locked On Golden Knights. For my man, Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas, and we'll see you again tomorrow right here on Locked On Golden Knights.